Castle Magic was a really fun project. It's based on the grape Tempranillo, so it's a Spanish varietal that is a very robust and flavorful grape. But more importantly, it's a grape that we have yet to work with here at the brewery, which is saying a lot, being that we do so many different projects, involving wine grapes in our beer. But as you can tell just by the appearance, it's a very dark and inky grape. It has a lot of color. It's very big and bold and has a lot of flavor. Traditionally, at least when it comes to wine consumption here in the United States, Tempranillo isn't high on the list as far as wines that are available for consumption. So if you go into your Ralph's or Albertsons or something like that, you're probably going to have a hard time finding a bottle of Tempranillo. That being said, the idea for this beer was old world fermentation techniques. So we used a method called Pied de Cuve, and Pied de Cuve essentially has to do with I'm not a French speaker, but with word dissection, the pied or pied or however you want to pronounce it is having to do with your feet. So the idea is that you would go into a vineyard several days before you harvested the grapes. You would pick some of the grapes and smash those grapes up and leave them in the vineyard overnight, maybe 2 nights. And what that would do is it would basically, you'd get an inoculation, not only from the grape skins, but from what was in the ambient air around the vineyard. And that would be your starter pitch to use for fermenting the grapes once you pulled the grapes into the winery or into the cellar. So essentially, if you think about that process, it ties very closely to the type of fermentations we do at the brewery, at the Bruery location. And it also kind of scratches an itch that I've had for a long time to create a product using that method. So this was originally something that we farmed and harvested in 2019. Upon looking at the grapes in the vineyard, I picked a handful of, basically a 5-gallon bucket full of these grapes. We brought them back to Truro. Did a wild spontaneous fermentation with those, and a week later when the grapes came in, we went ahead and used that as a pitch for this. So not truly a spontaneous fermentation, it's more of a native fermentation. So basically all the stuff that was on those grapes eventually was grown up and then used to ferment these grapes. Very blue fruit aromatics, so a lot of blueberry, huckleberry type of aromatics to it. It presents itself with a really thick body. I mean, you could see the viscosity of the actual beer wine hybrid. I think it's true to itself. I think it has this old world funk to it that I find pretty appealing, and I think it's gonna age gracefully. I think over time, when this cork breathes and it starts to show some oxidative character, I think that's when you're really going to see a lot of that old world Spanish charm come out.